I have been talking with Mark Carney for years now about getting him to join federal politics.
It took just one day for Trudeau to install his loyal Liberal friend Mark Carney as his economic advisor. And now this unelected, unaccountable personal friend of Trudeau is already dictating his economic vision for the entire country.
Is the carbon tax working, and are you in favor of Justin
And you're
Trudeau's
magically going to answer that in about 10 seconds.
I'm going to answer in 10 seconds. I'm going to answer that it's important that we have a forward-looking financial system that has information to manage it, and that we have credible and predictable climate policy.
Prompting Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to label him the phantom finance minister, which is a major red flag for Canada's oil patch.
I grew up in Alberta. I know the innovative nature of that.
Well, go try to give that answer back in Alberta, because I grew up there too, and I can tell you the people. I can tell you the people of Alberta would be ashamed with the answer you just gave. That you would give billions of dollars to foreign pipelines while not allowing Canadians to build pipelines here at home. That is the kind of elite Davos hypocrisy.
Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre wasted no time coining Trudeau's newly anointed economic advisor as Mark Carbon Tax Carney, with news swirling earlier this week that the longtime Liberal friend and Davos World Economic Forum dwelling and United Nations climate and cash czar would become Trudeau's handpicked economic advisor. It only took one day for that narrative to change as Carney laid out his economic vision for the entire country in a press conference on September the 10th.
The world is becoming a more dangerous and divided place, and at the same time, the global economy is being transformed. Every major economy is accelerating their energy transition, and being low carbon is becoming a key driver of competitiveness. We're just at the start of a revolution driven by AI in every sector, every economy, every company. We can no longer rely on the world's rules-based trading system. We have to become an essential trading partner. We can't win an industrial policy arms race. And in all of that environment, we have to grow, both in the short term and for the long term. We need real policies. We need solutions, not slogans. Action, not indifference. I'm pleased and honored not just by the Prime Minister's confidence, but I look forward to working with Minister Freeland, Minister Champagne, Minister Ng, and the rest of the caucus in developing this too. Thank you very much.
Carney openly admits that society is shifting from a democracy to an AI-driven authoritarian regime, and he's here for it. His vision places AI in control of everything while turning our energy grid into a monopolistic stronghold. Under his liberal energy agenda, our economy will bow to globalist carbon neutral demands at the expense of Canadians. After all, it's Carney's job at the United Nations to debank and de-insure fossil fuel projects. It's his sneaky way of making sure things don't go forward, even if they are economically viable and environmentally sustainable. At the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, his role is part of a cancel culture crusade within the financial sector, targeting and dismantling the oil and gas industry. In May, he even told Canadian senators that any new climate policy should not only be better and more effective than the carbon tax, but also have the power to drive investment. The investment that Carney champions will only serve to enrich himself and the elite few, likely pale in comparison to the green slush fund scandal that's recently rocked Canadian politics, which saw billions in grants funneled to Sustainable Development Technology Canada, despite clear ineligibility, which resulted in the resignation of CEO and President Leah Lawrence. Now, with all of this said, Pierre Poilievre slammed Carney, calling him out for being a WEF puppet, shielded from accountability, conflict of interest obligations, and financial disclosure laws.
He keeps the money with his chairmanship of a large multinational corporation that's moving investment to China, that buys pipelines in Latin America and the Middle East while he opposes them here in Canada. He gets to push his radical Davos agenda of you will own nothing and be happy, while at the same time he doesn't have to respect any of the conflict of interest laws. He doesn't have to have his interests and his investments exposed online like the rest of us.
This isn't the first time that Poilievre has exposed Carney's hidden agenda. He called out the former governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England for his blatant double standards in 2022, where Carney publicly supported the demise of Canadian oil and gas while raking in profits from that very same industry abroad.
What you're saying is you oppose pipelines in Canada, but you support them in the UAE and in Brazil. That's what you've actually said.
There are specific.
That's your double standard.
It is not a double standard.
It is a double standard.
No, it's not.
You make billions of dollars off foreign pipelines, and you shut them down here at home, putting our people out of work.
That you are a representative of the Canadian people, and one of your responsibilities, including at this committee,
is to fight for Canadian jobs, and not foreign jobs like you.
Exactly, to fight for Canadian jobs, and the types of Canadian jobs that are durable and are going to move forward.
Right.
I grew up in Alberta. I know the innovative nature of that.
Well, go try to give that answer back in Alberta, because I grew up there too, and I can tell you the people. I can tell you the people of Alberta would be ashamed with the answer you just gave. That you would give billions of dollars to foreign pipelines while not allowing Canadians to build pipelines here at home. That is the kind of elite Davos hypocrisy.
Now, credit where it's due. Carney did answer questions to Rebel News on the streets of Davos during the yearly Globalist World Economic Forum gathering, where he went so far as to call Canada an energy superpower.
Going to a central banker for political advice is never a good idea.
Come on, we know that you're in the line,
We in Canada are in a position where we have been an energy superpower. We can continue to be an energy superpower. We've always had the ability to develop new sources of energy.
But the PM said there was no market for natural gas. How do you feel about natural gas, especially to relieve Ukraine and other Europeans from Russian gas? How come they're buying Russian gas and Qatari gas, but Justin Trudeau won't let them buy Canadian gas?
Well, we would have to get to build the trains in order to do what called LNG trains in order to get the gas to them.
Carney's outlandish climate and energy claims have been debunked dating back to 2015 by the president of Princeton Energy Advisors, Stephen Kopitz. In an almost 5,000-word essay, Kopitz debunks Carney's claims during his time as governor of the Bank of England when he delivered the speech breaking the tragedy on the horizon: climate change and financial stability. Kopitz says that Carney's extreme assertions around rising temperatures and increased CO2 levels lack consensus and contradict available data, which he breaks down in his analysis. Carney claimed that human activity is the primary driver of climate change and rising sea levels, which Kopitz says is not supported by historical evidence. Kopitz criticizes Carney for either seriously overlooking key factors affecting insurance payouts or deliberately pushing a personal agenda, which could jeopardize the Bank of England's credibility and impartiality in economic policy. It's clear that Carney has been pushing climate alarmism for nearly a decade, skewing Canadian investment and financial markets in his and his Liberal friends' favor. And the reward for his meandering behavior is now to advise economic policy. Canadians can't stand for this, and they certainly can't afford it. Canada shouldn't plunge into the red just to chase the fanatical green agenda. We can't afford to let ideological obsessions drive us into financial ruin. Our country's fiscal health must come before any green delusion peddled by Carney and the Trudeau Liberals. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. It's clear that Trudeau is a horrible decision maker. If you agree and would like to see him resign, head on over to TrudeauMustResign.com. Put your name on that petition. That's TrudeauMustResign.com.